Hello, today I'm going to attempt to teach you how to make something like this with all your life data, especially if you're thinking of doing something like this in 2025. I had all this data tracked manually and I'm going to be sharing all my systems. It's shared in more holistic detail in my course, which is this Unhinged life tracking course. It helps you basically get your life together in 30 days. I might change the pricing in January, so this is like your last chance to enroll before the deadline. But basically, I'm going to show you my exact process for tracking everything and for making the presentation. You can see all my docs are very chaotic. And actually a few years ago, I made this data dashboard with all the data I was tracking manually. Like you can see my poo count here, all of my time tracking is here. But I think it looks nice and I can teach you how to do it. Like I have a video on my channel about how you can do this and make something like this and make it look all pretty. But I feel like I didn't really look at this dashboard that much throughout the year because you have to manually put in all the data and I got lazy. So instead, I'm gonna just teach you how to make this presentation because it was so fun to make. I made it in like 2 hours. So the first thing is the cry data. So I already added a cry tab here. But what I did was I have a bunch of counts throughout the years. So from 2017 to 2024. And every time I cry, I'm basically like, let me log a cry count, let me log the category. And the reason why I put this in Notion was because the categories I could just add whenever. Like, let's say in the beginning of the year, I didn't know that I was gonna cry over Duolingo, which by the way, I need to do my streak today. So let me do that. I have like a 900-day streak, so I'm gonna put that tab open for later so I don't forget. So obviously I didn't know I was gonna cry over Duolingo, so I didn't put that as a pre-existing category. So that's why I did Notion, but I think I might move it to my Google form. This is what I fill out every night. On days that I get behind, I just like backdate it, for example. And this actually double counts some of the things. Like my systems are not efficient, so the reason why I'm filming this video is I can teach you not to make my same mistakes. Basically, I have my poo count here, but I literally already have an app on my phone that logs not only the poo count, but like the quality and stuff. So like it gets me to show what poo type it is according to the Bristol Stewart scale, like if it's normal, soft, satisfying, etc. And then all of that. Like I had to Google how to do all these formulas so I could properly put them in this pivot table, which, by the way, what's a data analyst's favorite furniture? A pivot table! So, sorry, I had to say that. I'm so proud of that joke. If you don't know what a pivot table is, it's fine. But I'm gonna just like walk through how I did this. Sorry, this is so chaotic because it's not scripted, but let me try my best to have you follow along. I actually input all of this manually. So I looked through all my previous cry count years and just like put in the numbers for my Notion. So like this year, I think, yeah, okay, I cried a few more times after I made this, but I literally just put, like if you're starting this year, just put like 2024 or 2025 and then put down the cry count. So for me, it was like 160. And you don't have to put the cry categories, just like have the cry count there. Now, since I had it for multiple years, I could make cute little graphs throughout the years and like about the categories and stuff. But obviously, it might take you a few years to collect this data. However, if you want something where it's like month by month, you see like what was the highest cry month for you and what was the lowest, then you need to add something like that to this form. So what I would do is have a place on your phone that's like you can easily, like when you cry and you're like, let me add this to my cry count real quick. Then you can easily pull out your phone and do that. And then every night when I fill out this form, I just look at that note and I'm like, okay, how many times did I cry today? And then I put it in this form. Because with this form, it actually gives you the specific date. And then you can use Excel formulas to figure out what day of the week that was and like what month that was, and then have graphs for weeks and months. Now, that's cry count. If you're starting 2024, just like have this one field. Now for poo count, again, I've tracked this for so many years that I obviously will have more data than you. You can check out the average as well, just like divide the poo count by 365. But what I would do is I currently have this app called Bearable. Okay, it tracks my mood and the poo quality. Again, you'll notice that I also have my happiness rating here out of 4 because it's a forced choice scale. I didn't want to just feel neutral all day. I was like, okay, is today good or bad? It's either or. But I found that bearable was actually a little bit better because it ranked it out of 10. So there was more variability. Like you can see, where is it? Like you can see these graphs here. So I found this to be more helpful, and the app is free, and then it's just so easy to log every day. So every night I actually log it on that app, and then I also do this Google form. And I feel like I'm just gonna swap to that app from now on and only use the Google form for something super specific, like did I work towards my goals or did I compliment someone? And complimenting people, like giving a genuine compliment, is my life North Star metric, because my life North Star metric is actually positively impact as many people as I can. And to me, I was like, how do I measure that in my everyday habits, which is compliment? And I actually have stories from like when I was in Thailand, and there's this really beautiful like older lady, and I was like, she is like, I couldn't stop staring at her. She was so beautiful. And I was like, you know what? I bet she would love to hear this. So I went up to her and I told her, and she was so happy. And like every day I have a genuine compliment like that, because like for now I'm in a long distance relationship, so I send a cute little daily compliment video to my partner, and it makes us both so happy. So that's why I have that there. And like by making other people happy and like positively impacting other people, which I'm hopefully doing with this video, that makes me happy as well, and it helps me lead a more fulfilling life. So this life North Star metric is what I think will help me lead the most fulfilling life, and I just found a way to measure it in my day-to-day, so I live by that every day. If you take this life tracking preview course, I talk about like goals and life North Star metrics and stuff like that, so feel free to check that out. The preview is free, but the full course is not, because I need to pay my bills. That's another thing I had to learn, because I have to like charge for stuff, and sometimes I have to charge a lot, because by doing that I don't have to like always worry about where my next meal is coming from, and then I won't have to spend my energy on that, and I can spend more of my energy making free content for you, which will impact more people. So like the people who pay for my stuff actually helps me make more free content for people who can't afford it. Okay, let me go back to that. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, like every month, this is also covered in my course, but I have some of my happiest pictures ever from every month. I try and like go through my photo album, because every month and year I'm like, what did I even do? Like nothing happened. And I look through my happiest memories and these photos, I'm like, wow, I actually did a lot. So I try to do this every month and every year, but this was not included in my recap because I felt like it was too wholesome and not unhinged enough. But people love doing this, by the way. And it's something that you can even start today. Whereas like the poo and cry counts, if you haven't already done it, then you might have to start in like 2025 or something. So for the poo counts, let me go back to the data and be serious for a little bit. Well, as serious as I can be. I exported the CSV file from my Bearable app. Let me Google it for you. Bearable app. They need to sponsor me for real. If somebody from Bearable is seeing this, please sponsor me. Like I recommended so many people to your app already. And this is more for like health. So if you have IBS or something, like you can kind of like, it shows you correlations for your health and stuff automatically. It's just like, I don't know. I didn't want the automatic one. I like manual tracking. So if you're lazy, you can just get this app and then like run experiments on your life and like look at the graphs and insights. But for me, I'm like, I want my spreadsheets. So what I did was I took everything from Bearable and I got what day of the week it was and the time of day. I think there's a specific formula that you can use for this. You might have to Google it or ask ChatGPT or something. And then I added like this formula. So like all of the details about my poops are here. So I was like, okay, I want to know if that day I had a normal poop or not. So if it didn't say normal here, it says 0. If it does say normal, it says 1. And I just did the formula for like if it was satisfying, urgent, if it showed strain or not, and I just did all that. Also, I found out I apparently didn't have to put like this formula here. I could have just done that on the pivot table, but I'm a data beginner, so what I did was I highlighted all of this data and I put insert pivot table. And that's gonna lead me, oops, my bad. Did not mean to click into that. Let me delete this. So that's going to lead me to this pivot table. For example, let's say I want to see what day of the week I poop them and what day of the week I poop the most, I guess. Because it has the grand total and then it has like my Bristol stool scale. I think 1 is like the poo is really hard and 7 is like it's so watery and soft. And I wanted to see like how many days of the week I poop the most, and also like, you know, what is my most common poop texture, I guess. So I made this pivot table. When you highlight this and then you click insert pivot table, okay, let's make that. It's gonna show this blank page. So what I did was for the rows, I put weekday because that's what I was curious about. So I clicked and dragged this here. And then for the columns, well, you can skip the column if you want. You can just put, where's the count? Maybe I just put, okay, let me double check what I did here. Weekday. Bristol stool, okay. I just did Bristol stool for this one. Where is it here? Values. Columns. Yeah, so here, there's probably an easier way to do this, but you know, I was just doing random stuff. Like, I'm not a trained data analyst. So here you see the grand total for weekdays. So like, let's say on Friday, you know, I pooped so many times. I don't poop that much on Friday. I poop the most on Tuesday. So that's how I found out the day of the week thing. And if I wanted to see like how hard or soft my poop was, it looks like the grand total here, 200, was from type 4. So I guess that's like a good texture. Like, I don't really have trouble pooping or anything. People keep asking me about my, like, how am I able to poop so much per day? Because like, if you look at my average, I calculated it here. It's like almost 2 per day. And that's just because I eat a lot of fiber. Like, I'm a vegan. So I don't know what else to tell you. Like, it's not fake. I wouldn't cheat on my poop count. I'm not like cutting it short. Somebody was like talking about how your anus is not a vacuum seal or whatever. I'm like, why are you spending all this time thinking about my butthole? Like, please. I know I put myself out there and shared this detail, but like about my poop counts and stuff, but like, please, this is like a bit much, you know? Anyway, so that's what I did for the pivot table. Okay, let me delete this example I made. And I also looked at the quality. So I wanted the sum of like normal poop. So if you remember here, if the poop was normal here, it would be, again, I'm not an expert here. I don't know if I did this right, but the data sounded right enough. So if I had a 1 here under normal, it would count here. And if I had a 0, it wouldn't count. So it looks like I had the most normal poops. Well, normal poops was like the most out of all of these other qualities. And it looks like I had the most normal poops on Mondays. Interesting. So that's how I did it. And then if you want to look at what the pivot table setup is, it's like the weekday. And then you can change this weekday to like the month or anything else. And then I just put the sum of all of the different qualities under values. And then that's what it gave me. And then I was able to make cute little graphs out of it. So like, for example, I copy pasted. Everything I do, there's probably an easy way to do this, but I did it manually because it was faster for me and also made more sense for my brain. So I just put the days of the weeks here and then it just like manually copy pasted whatever the number on the pivot table said. And I did the same thing for months and for these. So, oh, and then I also calculated the percentage of the total here, just so I could see. So it looks like I pooped normally most of the time. Anyway, and then to make these graphs, what I did was like I highlighted all of this and I clicked on insert chart. And then usually it's like automatic, so I don't have to touch it. And it just does this. And I just screenshotted this chart and I put it in here. And for some of the correlation graphs, okay, yeah, all these charts are like screenshotted from the spreadsheets. All these correlation graphs, I literally just Googled like correlation graph and I put in my data. So here you will see, okay, I think it's under here. Yeah. Here you'll see, like I had all the years and I had all my cries and I had all my poops side by side. So all I did was I copy pasted these two like X and Y axes data points into whatever free graph calculator there was, and then it just gave me this graph. And I also tried to calculate the correlation coefficient, but I was like, no, this doesn't, like, you're not supposed to use a Pearson correlation apparently. So I used Spearman's rho, but it was still not statistically significant, so you can't really draw conclusions that my poo and cry counts are super correlated. I don't know. I still feel like when I poo more, I cry less, but whatever. That can't, the data doesn't lie. Okay, now the mood I cared less about, even though, I feel like we're all trying to optimize our happiness, but I was like, I'm more curious about my poo and cry count. So for when it came to happiness tracking, again, I exported all my data from Bearable, especially the numeric ratings here. And then all I did was looked for the average for the year of 2023 and the year of 2024. So what I did was I selected all and I clicked this filter, and then I just filtered for everything in 2023, copy pasted the 2023 one here, and then copy pasted the 2024 one here. And then at the very bottom of the 2023 and 2024 one, all I did was I took the average of all of the numbers there, and I just copy pasted that number. Oh my god, I have to show you this Excel hack. Okay. Sorry, I got really excited there because I showed some people this and then they're like, what the heck? Okay, let me start a new sheet. So let's say you have a number here, 7. Okay, I'm just going to put some random numbers. And then let's say you want to take okay, let me put some other random numbers. You want to take a percentage or whatever. So let's use the formula 7 divided by this, right? Okay, let me do percentage. And then let's say you have way more data points than this. Like the data goes all the way down here because you're like tracking your entire year. And you want to click and drag this formula, but it's like, oh, it's like I have to click and drag so far. Okay, don't do that. Click, okay, I don't know the Windows shortcut. You can probably search it up. Click on this cell, click Command Shift, and then the down arrow. And that goes all the way down. And then you want to click Command D, and that copies the formula all the way down. Those 2 keyboard shortcuts save so much time. Anyway, that was my exciting discovery that I only discovered while doing this life data tracking thing. Where was I? Oh, the happiness. So again, you see I took the average of 2023 and 2024. Maybe not here. This is from my... Oh, I think I took the average from my Google Sheet because remember it was out of 4 here. So I would suggest if you use Bearable, take the average from Bearable and put it here. Now I also track my time 24/7. So you don't have to do that. I do teach a little bit of this during my course and people say it's so helpful because they're like, when you after you go to sleep and when you wake up, you have the sleep timer on, right? And then you go on your phone and you stop the sleep timer. You might be tempted to scroll on your phone for an hour in bed before you actually get up. But when you have that timer on, you're like, oh, I feel bad. So let me just change the timer to get ready or bathroom. And then you actually get out of bed right away. So many students have told me that, and they told me all the ways that time tracking gave insights to their life. It's how I discovered my optimal sleeping time and stuff. But if you don't want to time track, that's fine. I have a time energy audit thing if you want to see where all your time is going. All this stuff is in my course, by the way. You can just plug in your estimate hours per day and per week, and it calculates how much time you're spending on things that give you energy versus draining. And if you're feeling burnt out, maybe you're doing more things that give you less energy. And then there's also one for work to help you figure out what to delegate, and especially if you're feeling overwhelmed. You can see for every Excel spreadsheet template I make for other people, it's all pretty, but for stuff for myself, it's messy. I don't even know what's going on with my own sheets, but it works for me, and I just screenshot, put it in this presentation, and it's done. So again, your stuff doesn't have to be perfect either. Oh, here's the average. Okay, so this happiness average is from Bearable. And I wanted to see the specific months that I said I was happier versus less happy, what was I spending time on? So I would just go to Toggle Track, and I teach you how to set up all the categories and stuff, by the way, on Toggle Track. I think there's a tutorial in my life tracking course template. Okay, these are all the Notion templates in the course. Here is the written tutorial. This is what the calendar looks like, and this is the dashboard I made with it, and I teach everything in that. I have another video on my channel teaching this, and I also have this written tutorial, and it's a whole thing. And I have some suggested categories and stuff here, and it's a whole tutorial. So if you want this, enroll in my course, but you don't, like, time tracking 24/7 is not for everyone. So what I did was, now instead of like copy pasting, like exporting all the data, I'm just like, let me just look in the analytics, and then like, let's pick this year, or you can even pick this week or this month, whatever you want. Oh, this month just started. Okay, let me put this quarter. And then every quarter you can reflect on whether your time is like in line with where you want to be. So let's say you spend too much time on your phone, and okay, I have some doubles here, I'm gonna fix that later. But you spend too much time on your phone, you're like, I don't want to be doing this. I want to be spending more time with my loved ones or on my side hustle or whatever. This time tracking 24/7 really vibe checks you. So that's what I try to do. I try to vibe check myself. I'm like, okay, you know, based on these happiness scores for this month, like look at May this year, it was a lot less happy. So I was like, what am I spending time on? Like, what happened here? And I look at all my reflections. Okay, speaking of reflections, that's another template. So I look at all of my weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly reflections, and there's like a bunch of, you know, questions that kind of help you reflect on your life and make sure you're kind of living the life you want and like working towards your goals every day. And I just look at like what I'm spending time on. The top will always be sleep, because we spend a third of our life sleeping, but the rest, it's like, okay, are these reflective of where I want to be and what I want to do? So I just look at those, and my friends are like, they're doing the same things now, and they're like, wow, this is actually so insightful, because I can see that I spend a lot of time on things that don't bring me joy. Oh, that's another thing. Like on my time tracking, I have tags where like, dislike, and necessary. So if I'm noticing I keep tagging things as dislike, I'm like, why am I doing this? Let me delegate that. So that again goes back to the time energy audit about, you know, I feel like a lot of the time we're like doing things that we don't even need to do. It's like busy work and not stuff that actually moves the needle. Sorry, it's corporate speak, I know. That actually helps you move towards your goals. So I'm like, why not just delegate it, automate it, or eliminate it? Or if you want to delegate it, you can send it to someone else. So you can totally do this for your life. Like, honestly, the corporate frameworks they teach is like, they work, which is why I'm like, maybe I should apply this to my life. Like stuff like life North Star metric, that's, you know, it helps my life. Stuff like the 5 whys analysis. A lot of my students love that because it helps them think more critically and helps them basically change their life. I teach all this in my course. Even stuff like minimum viable action, like the smallest thing that you can do to take action towards your goals, which, you know, this is what I have in my goals setting template. The smallest little habit you can do that kind of helps you build that energy and momentum, so you're less likely to give up on your goals and can work towards them consistently every day. Like, you don't really need to be a disciplined person for this. I'm a lazy person, but when I'm super motivated and I have a lot of energy for something that I care about, like my goal, then I'll do it. And this just basically helps you reverse engineer all that and turn it into a system. Like, I have videos on this, check out my YouTube channel. But yeah, where was I went on a whole rant there because I'm so passionate about this. I really see how it helps people. So yeah. Now the last thing I want to show you is this. So let me go to Looker Studio and I'm going to show you how I make it all aesthetic and stuff. You can dive deep into this if you want, but what I do is, okay, let's connect it to Google Sheets and let's connect it to Counts. So this is the data that I was working on here, or the pre-data. It's really messy, but whatever. Let's say I want to connect it to maybe poo quality. Here, add. Loading. Okay, all I'm going to show you today is how to make it look pretty, not necessarily how to create the whole dashboard, because that would just take way too long. Okay, so it'll just do this. What you want to do is you want to look at whatever metrics you care about. Let's say, Okay, some of these you need to be careful about formatting your data properly because you can see like there's a number sign on some of them. There's like ABC on others. If it says ABC but it's meant to be a number, you need to go here and like make sure it's like number, for example, instead of automatic. Okay, let's see, maybe date. Oops, I forgot how I did this because I didn't find the dashboard that useful. Okay, so you can do this, and then to make it all look pretty, what I would do is create like a shape here, and then I would change the color to, I forgot how to change the color, but you would, oh, here it is. You change the color to a cute little color that you like. I like to pick my own custom colors and make it like a super light pastel background. And then what you want to do is add a text box here and be like, my poo strain, for example. And then you can pick your cute little colors, bold it, like have a nice little font, and then increase the font size. Oh, that's too big. Just like my poo. I'm sorry. I don't even know if my mic is picking up all my weird comments. Okay, center it, and then literally look how cute that looks. You just place it in the middle there, and then you can put this number. Okay, the thing is, you want to bring it to the front, so I think, oops, I don't know what I did there. Let me order center back. There. And then I believe you can also change everything here, and then change the font color. Yeah. And then you can remove the title somewhere. I think it's here. Yeah, I don't know. You can figure it out. I spent hours on that data dashboard and I never look at it, so decide if this is worth it for you. It's a lot easier to do when you have this Google form because it just automatically puts it in a Google Sheet for you. Here, let me show you my Google Sheet. So here it is. And I like the Google Sheet because like 1 week I was really busy traveling, so I didn't fill in the form. So what I did was like I just added a bunch of rows in the sheet and then I filled it out. But even if you miss a few weeks, it's okay because like you don't need, like a few weeks or days of missing data isn't gonna impact your entire year of analysis. So like if all of September was missing, that's fine. The most important thing is get back on it so you can collect more data points. I think that's all I wanted to cover today. Hopefully this helps. I know this whole rant was very chaotic and unhinged, but I might make a full structured course on this later. Remember to check out the actual course on like this. So many people have told me that it changed their lives, and you know, I want to help more people change their lives, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed and upset about, you know, like wasting your life. Oh my god, I need to show you life in weeks, because I show this to people in the course and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to start, you know, doing stuff, like, because time is the only resource you don't get back. That's why I track it, and that's why I try and help people realize what their life goals are. You know, they get clarity on all this stuff, because you know, you have to do it before time runs out. Like, I used to be somebody who just like followed whatever other people wanted me to do for my life. I wasn't actually leading a life. But ever since I started tracking all this, I was like, yeah, I'm more intentional. Like, you know, I noticed that I was happiest when I spent time with loved ones. So I made more of an effort to be vulnerable and connect with my friends. And now I have a very good group of friends, which I'm grateful for. Anyway, remember to check out the course. I will leave a link somewhere. And that is all for today. Thanks.